Hello and welcome to another session of Groundbreakers Live. I'm your host Javed Mohammed, and we're very honored to have with us Stephen Karafiath. I hope I got that almost right. Hi,
Absolutely.
Stephen. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Javed?
Oh, good, thank you. And Stephen is a principal cloud architect. And as he reminded me, we actually met not too long ago at a Code Innovate event. Anyway, Stephen is actually presenting at the Oracle DevLive Cloud Native Apps, and he's got a presentation called Introduction to Cloud Native. And you know what? I was thinking about this. Cloud native is becoming such a common term. It's like beauty. It's like, everyone kind of defines it a little differently. Everything from, using microservices to build apps and containers, or using Kubernetes for orchestration, or using continuous integration, continuous development. There's just like a plethora of definitions. I just from your perspective, what is cloud native?
It's a really good question. And, I think it's kind of an iterative process, the same way as, we used to have only gasoline powered cars, and then we had kind of hybrid cars, and now we have full on electric cars, that sort of thing. In my mind, I think cloud native is really, trying to get to that kind of ultimate pinnacle of getting to the most evolved state where the default position for everything where it makes sense is to be in the cloud. Rather than, you can certainly see, the history of how these things came up from the mainframe world all the way up through, when everything's been hosted in private data centers, and you still see that with a lot of, the big companies or the companies that are moving a little bit slower towards the cloud, who still have, massive on-premise data centers that they manage themselves. And, I truly believe that that sort of thing is legacy. It'll be similar to how I think a hybrid car will go the way of the dodo once the electric car has been, totally commoditized to the point that it's far cheaper, obviously faster, and the benefits are there from an economic perspective. I think the same thing that we'll see with, all of these on-premise data centers and things like that. The direction is clear. And so kind of my recommendation, and I come at this always from the perspective of developers, help developers be successful with, what they need, and kind of drive things from the bottom up. Rather than saying, from a cost perspective, we are implementing these massive mandates. So what I think that looks like is, the first thought is cloud. Sometimes we're moving things into the cloud, but cloud native to me means we start in the cloud. We have everything in the cloud. We integrate back to on-premise when we need to, but we're always thinking about the cloud and all of the benefits that it provide, which snowball. The more cloud you get, the better efficiencies you achieve, and the more you can do quickly and easily.
Okay. So give us a sense, like, what are you going to be covering in your presentation?
Great question. So our presentation is geared towards somewhat technical people, but also maybe some line of business users. But we're going to basically run through a workshop that starts with a hands-on introduction where people can kind of get their feet wet, dip their toe in the water, so to speak, actually using our cloud. We're also going to run through some topics, microservices. You touched on Kubernetes earlier, containerization, those sorts of things. And really what we're trying to do is get people that may never have actually touched our cloud before, hands-on keyboards experience, see what it's all about, and also, see some of the ways that they can pretty easily do things, whether that's through, Cloud Shell, or we'll even show some things around functions. There's a lot of different pieces that we're going to cover at a high level to get people some initial hands-on experience with the cloud, and hopefully plant some seeds for then how they can go back and apply the things they've learned, to their own organization, or maybe there's follow-up areas that they'd want to deep dive in that perhaps our team could help them with.
Okay, so it sounds like a really exciting overview. And if people want to take, and I'm sure you'll cover this in your presentation, but if people are excited enough to check it out and think, what would be some follow-on steps that would come after your presentation that they can do to take it for a test drive?
Yeah, no, those are great questions. So first of all, one great thing is the kind of workshops that we run. We get everybody who's attending a 30-day free trial that's theirs to keep, so they can run through.
Is that the free tier?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so they'll have that trial, and I highly encourage, especially developers, to run through this workshop that we're going to be doing, but then spin up some stuff on your own. Maybe you spin up your own autonomous database, or maybe you spin up something else, an app server, and you deploy some things there, just kind of taking it for a test drive. And then we have a wealth of other kind of workshops and lab guides that people are interested in deep dives might want to follow up on. And then kind of as a larger program, and maybe we would touch on this anyway, people that have worked for companies that have a large number of developers who are interested in really kind of brainstorming through use cases that they have and how they could leverage best of breed open source technologies in conjunction with what Oracle can offer in the cloud. We have a program around that called Code Innovate that our team is highly involved with, that may be a good fit if they've got a team of developers who's really motivated to spend some time working with us to really go through and kind of brainstorm, as well as kind of in a hackathon style, get some kind of initial prototypes even of what it could look like to solve some of those use cases.
No, absolutely. It's a great program. And actually I did it when I met you, and attended one of those sessions. I mean, it's something which is really hands-on and takes, rather than just having some general training, you're taking a specific use case and kind of in a semi-competitive environment.
Yeah.
Trying to, put it out and, make it something real.
Yeah, it's near and dear to my heart, because it starts with the developers. It starts with helping them be successful. And it's, we always run into some specific tactical roadblocks or technical issues if we're really, because a lot of times we're combining, 3 or 4 disparate technologies. But we really try to, push forward as quickly as possible with a hackathon mentality. Maybe we'll offload some things to look into in the future, but it's amazing how in even a couple days, 3 days, we can arrive at something that's an amazing proof of concept, get a lot of people, educated on where they could go from there, as well as then provide, presentations to these developers that they can use to report back up to their upper level management structure, the ideas that they've come up with, where they could go for their potential future projects. It's really a win-win for everybody. I almost look at it as we're providing, free consulting with some of the, best minds within Oracle. So, when we have that engagement and interest from the customer to really dedicate to that, we've seen great success around a number of customers.
Okay, so it's a great presentation and a great program that you talked about. I really encourage the viewers out there to check it out. And I have to ask you one last question, just because you use that as an analogy and it's got nothing to do with the technical stuff. So we talked about cars. So have you transitioned to an all-electric car yet? Or are you still
not yet? I guess.
Are you waiting for the price point to drop so that, because that's where I'm at. I'm still waiting.
That is a great question. Yeah, I guess, on that one, I'm letting other people be the guinea pigs, the kind of the pioneers get slaughters and then the settlers settle the land sort of thing. I've got a traditional pickup truck that serves me well, especially in the snow towing. I've got a lot of questions about how electric vehicles are going to do that. I might have my eye on an electric pickup truck one day, but you know what? I'm going to let some other people try it out for a couple of years, before I go there. And that's where I kind of think, we are with cloud now. A lot of the early adopters have been trying it out for a number of years, and we kind of know the answers to it. And that's why we're seeing a lot of our, bigger customers and kind of more conservative customers are already starting to be ready to make the switch. So
great. All right, then. Well, I know Elon Musk has a very good solution for you out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm guessing within a couple of years, it's looking like it's achieving that tipping point. Because I see, probably for $10,000, you'll be able to get an electric car in years from now. So it's certainly heading that direction.
Okay. I'm going to hold you to that.
Yeah. Well, right. I might be selling it, and it might be a knock-on coming out of some factory you never heard of. But once the technology is commoditized, just like cloud stuff, the prices come down. We have huge economies of scale. We save tons of companies money, as well as making them more efficient, when they move to the cloud. So,
great. Stephen, always a pleasure speaking with you. I love your energy. Thank you so much for sharing.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Javed. It was great talking to you.
Likewise.